you might have been seeing on the side of your screen there, we've been beaming live visuals from the St. Peter's Basilica in Rome as we watch as the College of Cardinals, those are the clergymen there who are clad in the red, essentially usher in or lead a procession of Pope Francis's body into the St. Peter's Basilica. It's a tradition that is centuries old and is really steeped in the history of the Catholic Church, which dates back several years. There's a lot of symbolism along the way, highlighting, of course, the Church's continuity, the authority, and the divine guidance that they believe takes over at this time of the year. Pope Francis, or this time of their history, I should say, I beg your pardon. Pope Francis, of course, passing away on Easter Monday. We subsequently learned that he had suffered a stroke moments before his passing, and this is after he had spent several weeks in hospital at some stage battling double pneumonia. What is taking place now is the step where he is expected to lie in state. This will take place for about 3 days or so. And that's to allow the thousands of pilgrims from literally all over the world to come view him as he lies in that coffin. It also, in some ways, if you like, marks the start of a mourning period, which is seen in some instances as a time of unity for the Catholic Church. Thereafter, there's going to be a funeral. It's going to take place, of course, on Saturday. That time has been given, 10 o'clock in South Africa. And that's when cardinals, bishops, world leaders, and countless others are expected to be in attendance. I mentioned a short while ago that typically there's what's called a triple coffin that is prepared for the death of a pope, and usually it lies just beneath the tomb, or what's believed to be the tomb of St. Peter. And this triple coffin is made up of wood, lead, and cypress. And, you know, again, my reading of that is that there's always been, a lot of symbolism around the number 3 for Christians and more specifically for Catholics. Many, of course, connecting it to the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And I imagine that's going to be a lot of what's going to be referenced. But Pope Francis said he just wants a simple wooden coffin this time around, and that's why we're seeing him just lying there in what seems to be that plain coffin, which he said should only be laced with zinc inside. He also mentioned that it doesn't want it to be placed on any elevated platform. It should be as close to the ground in order to allow for pilgrims who are going to view him to do exactly that. There's also going to be preparations at some stage for the conclave, and once again, that's going to be a big part of the focus that you're going to see. And while you're watching now, ordinary priests, and these are the individuals in the plain white vestments, they probably come from many of the churches in Italy, if not from elsewhere in the world. The people who are going to decide in some ways on the future of the church are the clergymen in red. They are considered next in line in the hierarchy of the church, if you like. Many of them would have advised the Pope throughout his 12-year papacy in trying to find some kind of direction. The man on the right-hand side of your screen, that's Archbishop Stephen Brislin, is going to join them later on today. He's currently holding a mass for Pope Francis in Johannesburg, not too far from where we're broadcasting here. And it is part of what you're going to be seeing take place the world over the next couple of days. They call it a mass for the repose of the soul, essentially to plead with God that he accept his spirit, as the church also looks to the Holy Spirit itself to try guide it to the next step of its chapter or its existence. This centuries-old institution has been doing this, literally, we're told, since the times of the apostles themselves. And you're going to hear a lot of emphasis on that. Continuity and tradition certainly is what guides what happens here. It's very seldom there's a major deviation. Even the chants that you're hearing in the background have been written centuries ago and have been passed down throughout the generations. And I'd mentioned this earlier, that even for people who don't even believe in God, it's always quite something to observe the synchronicity, the organization, and just how closely choreographed all of this is. We'll continue to take those in throughout the course of the morning. I imagine it's going to continue into much of the afternoon as the build-up, loosely put, continues to the funeral of the Pope on Saturday.